With the month of August, the game releases are finally going to start to ramp up a little bit. Not going to say that August is packed with these exciting game releases, however, there are a couple of titles that I am very interested in, and I think a lot of PlayStation 4 games that you guys are going to be excited for as well. And it's kind of the precursor to when things really get crazy starting in September with all of the fall months to proceed after that. There are going to be some epic months of game releases. August, still a little bit light, but a couple of interesting titles nonetheless. So without further ado, let's get right into it. We've got 6 games to go over, and starting things off, definitely want to give a mention to Remedy's Control. This is a game that unfortunately has been going really under the radar, and I don't quite know why. Remedy is one of the better development studios in all of gaming. However, generally speaking, their games do in fact go a little bit under the radar, so it shouldn't be all too surprising. Alan Wake was a tremendous game by them, and by the way, we just heard that they acquired the publishing rights for that game, so hopefully at some point we get some sort of PlayStation 4 or even PlayStation 5 remaster for that game. That would be great because Alan Wake is a great title. And they also, of course, did Quantum Break, and Control looks to be building upon the fundamentals that Quantum Break set. Of course, Quantum Break never was released on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC title. And like Remedy's previous projects, Control is played from a third-person perspective and is built using Remedy's proprietary Northlight engine, which was first used on Quantum Break, and that game visually looks stunning. The game has you play as Jesse Faden while you wield the service weapon, a supernatural firearm that can be adapted into a variety of different forms with different combat applications. In addition to the service weapon, Jesse also possesses a variety of supernatural abilities, including telekinesis, levitation, and the ability to control certain enemies, hence the name of Control. The service weapon and Jesse's abilities both expend Jesse's energy, necessitating a balance in their usage, thus adding a little bit of variety to the gameplay. Generally speaking, the Remedy games are more concerned with narrative building, creating a compelling and engaging atmosphere, elements like that really do hook you into the game's world. However, with Control, it looks like there is a lot of interesting gameplay elements as well, and we'll see how the final game turns out, as Control is set to drop on the PlayStation 4 on August 27th. Okay, next up, here's one that I am personally very excited for, and that is Black Desert Online finally making its way over to the PlayStation 4. It's been out on PC and Xbox One for quite a while, but the PlayStation 4 version will finally be released on August 22nd, and I am oh so excited. If you've never heard of Black Desert Online, just by looking at the gameplay, you're probably instantly somewhat captivated by the game based on the incredible visuals. This is one of the best looking MMOs that you are going to come across, and it's a sandbox living world MMORPG. You'll experience fast-paced action-packed combat, hunt monsters and huge bosses, fight with friends in a guild to siege nodes and conquer castles, train your life skills such as fishing, trading, crafting, cooking, and much more. Just by going over that bit of information, you probably come to the conclusion that this is a game with a lot of variety in its gameplay, and it absolutely has that going for it. Also, as I mentioned, this game has been out on PC for quite a while, and it's been consistently getting updated with several new classes, so there's a lot of variety in how you play the game, and also, this game's customization elements are second to none. It has such an in-depth level of customization where you can make your character look exactly how you want to. Some of the characters that people have created are just top-notch, and again, that's only enhanced by the incredible visuals that the game has to offer as well. The game will be dropping on August 22nd, however, it's available to pre-order right now on the PlayStation Store, and if you do pre-order the game, you will also get 2 days of early access into the game as well as some in-game content. I know Black Desert Online at this point, maybe it's not at the height that it once was at, however, it's still very exciting to see this game released on PlayStation 4. With a game like this arriving to the PlayStation 4, it just adds to all of the MMORPGs the PS4 has. With Final Fantasy XIV, The Elder Scrolls Online, and other big multiplayer games, these types of games for a long time were associated more so with PC gaming, but it's good to see that the floodgates have been open and the PlayStation 4 is getting access to these games as well. And with Black Desert Online, I think it's a game that a lot of you guys are just going to have some inherent interest in, just to see how the game's customization elements are, the fast-paced action gameplay, the incredible visuals. There's a lot of enticing elements with Black Desert Online, and while I'm not going to say it's a perfect game, Pearl Abyss has done a relatively decent job in keeping the game updated, keeping it fresh, and hopefully all of those elements also transition with the PlayStation 4 version. Okay, next up, here's another RPG I am incredibly excited for, this one being a single-player RPG coming from the guys over at Tokyo RPG Factory, a relatively new studio by Square Enix, and that game is Oninaki. Oninaki is an all-new action RPG, and it tells the story of one watcher on a journey to protect life after death. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Tokyo RPG Factory, they've done work on a couple of titles, namely I Am Setsuna as well as Lost Sphere, and while I'm not going to say that those games were absolutely perfect, I thought they did have very compelling and very engaging stories. They did have some issues with their gameplay. Some of the story elements were a little bit off as well, but I thought as far as their first 2 games go, they've set the fundamentals of what they could do in the future, and with Oninaki, it looks to be a gigantic step up in terms of budget, presentation, visuals. All of those elements have been enhanced greatly. And the style of the game is very interesting as well. It notes reincarnation is the foundation of our way of life. We celebrate the lives we've been given and offer up prayers for the next. It is grief of death which shackles the living and causes the dead to stray. Indeed, there is no greater affront to reincarnation. So do we turn our grief to joy as we send off the dead, but the souls of those who held back their tears in life still need salvation in death, a duty that falls to the Watcher. Their task is to guide the wandering souls known as the lost and serve as keeping of the living world and beyond. The Watchers sever the bonds that tie the lost to this world and send them on to the next. They navigate the emotions of the living and the dead. They prize life above all else, and the story of this game is going to follow one specific Watcher. I expect a very engaging narrative out of this one. That's really what Tokyo RPG Factory has excelled at, and the gameplay looks pretty good too. Looks to be more action oriented, so I'm definitely interested in that, and Oninaki will be hitting the PlayStation 4 on August 22nd. Next up, here's a very cool cooperative action-adventure title in Remnant from the Ashes. Remnant from the Ashes is being done by Gunfire Games, and Gunfire Games actually did work on Darksiders 3, and I thought that turned out pretty well. And Remnant from the Ashes is shaping up very nicely as well. This actually had a little bit of a presence at E3, and it notes the world has been thrown into chaos by an ancient evil from another dimension. As one of the last remnants of humanity, you must set out alone or alongside up to 2 other survivors, so that's pretty interesting in it being a 3-player co-op game. Usually you see 2-player co-op games, maybe a 4-player co-op game, but in this case a 3-player co-op title. And you've got to face down hordes of deadly enemies to carve a foothold, rebuild, and retake what was lost. The game has you explore dynamically generated worlds that change each time you play through them, so it's going to add a level of replayability, so that's great, creating new maps, enemy encounters, quest opportunities, and in-world events. Each of the game's 4 unique worlds is filled with monsters, denizens, and environments that will provide fresh challenges with each playthrough. Adapt and explore or die trying. Throughout the game, you're going to scavenge, upgrade, and specialize, overcome tough as nail enemies and epic bosses throughout the hostile environments to earn experience, valuable loot, and upgrade materials you can use to build a wicked arsenal of weapons, armor, and modifications to approach each encounter dozens of unique ways. Throughout the game, there's also going to be strength in numbers. Invading other worlds to seek an end to the root is dangerous, and survival is far from guaranteed. Team up with up to 2 other players to increase your chances of survival, and teamwork is necessary to make it through the game's toughest challenges and unlock its greatest rewards. Remnant from the Ashes is scheduled to drop on August 20th, and it is going to be released at the budget price point of $39.99, so obviously that's always something that's going to appeal to me, and I'm sure many other gamers. We've seen it be successful with games like World War Z. We'll see if it pans out similarly with Remnant from the Ashes. Next up, here's a From Software game remastered and recreated, and that is Metal Wolf Chaos XD. Metal Wolf Chaos XD is a modernized re-release of From Software's 2004 mech shooter with upgraded visual fidelity, refined controls and gameplay, a new save system, and 4K and 16:9 support for modern displays. Yes, this is a game from Software, which now most of you guys know them for games like Souls, games like Bloodborne, but they did work on games prior to that, believe it or not, and Metal Wolf Chaos XD was one of those titles. From Software originally released Metal Wolf Chaos in December of 2004, appearing exclusively on the original Xbox and only in Japan. The game went on to become somewhat of a legend, as it was hard to acquire and even harder to play outside of Japan, with most fans' experience of the game through YouTube videos and the occasional screenshot. Devolver Digital and From Software have partnered together with developer General Arcade to modernize Metal Wolf Chaos with updates to the game, including upgraded visual fidelity, refined controls and gameplay, a new save system, and 4K and 16:9 support, as it was noted. This isn't From Software's best work, however, it is a quirky mech game that I think people are just going to have an inherent amount of interest on the basis that it is this historic From Software title, and it's being released at the budget price point of $25. I think it's going to be up a lot of people's alley, especially because we don't see a lot of exciting mech titles these days. The Gundam games don't really turn out all too well, and Zone of the Enders is really a thing of the past, so in that sense, I'm excited for Metal Wolf Chaos XD as it's scheduled to drop on August 6th. And lastly, I do want to finally give a mention to a game being developed by Supermassive Games, the guys that did Until Dawn, this one being published by Bandai Namco, and that is the Dark Pictures Man of Medan. Now, if you played Supermassive Games' Until Dawn, this is once again following a similar premise in it being a interactive drama horror game, and it's played from a third-person perspective and where you assume control of 5 different characters who are trapped inside a ghost ship. ship. Players need to make different decisions and select dialogue options when they are interacting with other characters. Of course, depending on the decisions you make and the choices you make, the narrative is going to adapt to these choices, and it's possible for players to keep all playable characters alive as well as having all of them die, so there's going to be a lot of inherent replayability that way as well. A lot of quick time events with the action sequences, that's kind of to be expected with these narrative-driven games. That's how they get the action across, and as you explore the ghost ship, you're going to find different dark pictures which give the player character premonitions of what may happen in the future to give you an idea of what to expect. The game is being released at a budget price point of $29.99, and it's going to be an episodic series. But the first game will be dropping on August 30th, just on the basis that it's coming from Supermassive. I loved Until Dawn, even though it wasn't a perfect game. It was incredibly quirky in what it tried to offer, and I thought it did that pretty well. And it was one of the early great PS4 exclusives, and I'm interested in seeing how Man of Medan turns out. Again, it drops August 30th. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, August is ramping up a little bit with the high-profile game releases. Incredibly excited for Control. Black Desert Online finally coming to the PS4. Oninaki, I'm hoping for the best out of. I think Tokyo RPG can become a great studio under the Square Enix umbrella. Remnant from the Ashes looks pretty good. Metal Wolf Chaos XD, I mean, From Software did that game, so you gotta have some interest in that, and the Dark Pictures Man of Medan looks pretty cool as well. Let us know what games you're planning to pick up in the month of August. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.